Hey everybody, it's Terence Golden, author of Getting to the Heart of Reconciliation. I'm so glad that you purchased this book, this prayer journal. I'm so glad that you purchased it because I believe that we are in a time that this message fits, and it's an important message. I want to say that. So I really am thankful that you took it upon yourself to go ahead and purchase a copy. Today's lesson is, as you will read in your journal, is what's the problem with humanity? What's going on? What's wrong with humanity? One of the things that I just want to, say here that's very important is that if you say to people, you know what, you need God in your life. You need Christ in your life. If you say that to people nowadays, a lot of times they'll just take that as being dismissed. People really don't believe in God like they say they do. They don't really believe in Jesus Christ like they say they do. It's pretty much just part of the way we live. Yeah, I go to church. Yes, I'm religious. I believe there is God, but we truly don't have a relationship with him like we really ought to. A lot of us don't. And I'm always working on my relationship, so I'm not trying to say I'm perfect or anything like that. But the problem with humanity, simple and plain, is we have an issue with sin that isn't just happening in our life, but is being generated from our heart, being generated from our mind, our thoughts, being generated by the things that we do. If you go back and look at the story of Adam and Eve, you'll see what happened there, and you'll see that in the focus prayer, the scripture focus, you'll be able to see that story play out. And I got to tell you, that's still true right now today. Sin is one of those things that happens so subtly that you don't always know it. It can happen heavily. I mean, you can actually have some real serious sin in your life where you're like, we all know what we're talking about here. Like you're taking drugs, you're robbing and killing, or you're doing things that are just outright in society that are frowned upon. And we talk about that kind of sin. That's like those are just sins that for a fact are not what God wants. And I think we all know when we see those things, but it's the sin that's in the underneath. It's the sin that flows underneath. It's the indifference towards people. It's the indifference towards the things that honor God. It's the indifference towards living a life that's continuing to chase after him. That's the sin I'm talking about. I'm talking about the big sin too, but I'm also talking about that very small sin that we don't always pay attention to. I tell a story about my favorite gum, which is zebra fruit gum. I don't know if you've ever had the fruit stripe gum. You should run out to any gas station. I think you probably can still find it. I've actually had some of that gum in the last 6 months. But you can find this striped pack of gum, and it's delicious, man. I mean, it has like lemon and lime. I just think about it right now, and I've just always been a fan of that gum. Now, the problem with that gum is that once you start to chew it, it runs out of flavor, but that's another problem. I mean, it tastes like putty, like silly putty, like you're chewing silly putty. It gets real bad, like about 20 seconds in, it's gone. The flavor's gone, and you're just stuck with goo. But my buddy one time had some gum, and he let me know in class. He's like, when we go out to recess, I'm going to get you some of this gum. I'm like, oh, man. I mean, what'd you tell me that for? I mean, my mind is stuck on getting that gum. I was excited about having my favorite gum. Oh, man. I mean, like, it's secretive. Nobody else knows. It's just me and him. And he's got a full pack. I'm like, we're getting ready to have a great time. And so we get out to recess, and sure enough, he hands me that stick of gum. I put it in, and I'm savoring all the flavor in it and chewing it. I mean, it was, it's just like it always is. That zebra stripe gum is always good. And I take that gum, chew it up, And I turned to go and do what I came there to do, which was to have recess. And I remember just saying something to someone that was standing near some play equipment, and the gum just fell right out of my mouth. I don't know if you've ever dropped gum in sand, but that gum fell right out of my mouth, right into sand. And if you've ever dropped gum in sand, you know that gum was jacked. I mean, it's like, there's no way to get it back. But just automatically, I just go to grab it, and try to take it up, and I see all the dirt that's on there, and there's big balls of sand, and I'm picking it off, cleaning it off, just cleaning off the brown pieces and the amber pieces from the sand, all that grit, just pulling it away to the place where it looked pretty good. I mean, I have to be honest, I was thinking, dude, I think I got this. I mean, it only hit the sand. It didn't get all the way in the gum, so I'm probably good. So, I mean, I got the outside clean. I think we're good here. I mean, it's past the 10-second rule, but I'm going to try it. So I take that gum and just plop it right back in my mouth. And when I bite down, it's just like biting on sandpaper. I mean, oh, man, there was so much grit in that thing. It was like, I just spit it out, just dejected. So terrible. That gum was ruined. It just was. There's no good. I don't even know what I could have done to fix that on my own ability. And that's just how sin is in our life. It's like that gum. Sin, it's like the sand. It's like we get sin in our life, and it gets everywhere. I know that we have sin in our life, and so we have it all through and in and out and everywhere. Everything gets affected by the sin that we have in our life. And the funny thing is we do try to clean it up. We try to go to church, clean it up, do a good act, clean it up. We're not going to cuss, no more cussing, going to clean it up. We really try to work to clean up all the sin that's in our life. And it doesn't have to be a ton of sand. Like, I didn't get all the sand in the playground on that gum. I just got a little bit. I mean, it only hit a small portion of that sand. And I think that's the same way it is with sin. In fact, I know it is. I know that's the same way it is with sin. A little bit of sin is enough to make a mess of the thing that you hold so dear to you, your life. And I'm telling you today that the problem with mankind is that we have sinned against a holy and righteous God. That's the problem with man, is that we have sinned against a holy and righteous God, and we stand under judgment from that God. Now, he sent his son, Jesus Christ, and we have that opportunity. We're going to talk about that in the book as we go through it and pray through it. But I want you to just think about that today. Think about the sin in your life. Think about how tough it is. How many years have you spent trying to wash it away, but it comes right back? There's still evidence of it. No matter how much you wash it, stretch it, look through it, push out the sand particles, push out that sin. You try to find every way. You read books trying to figure out a way to be moral and try to live a better life. But that's not what God's plan is. It's not just trying to be moral and live a better life. It's recognizing that we have sin in our life and that he's displeased with it. And then working to remove that sin by surrendering to Jesus Christ. We're going to get into that much, much more. But today, I want you to pray about that sin that you cannot see. And I want you to pray about the sin that you can see. One of the things that I have come to my mind as I wrote this journal is the fact that we need to be people that are walking 10 and 20 and 30 years need to recommit. They need to recommit. They've already committed to Christ, but now they've been walking a while, and maybe some of that commitment has worked its way out. We need to recommit. If you haven't committed to Christ, then you need to get committed. If you've been walking with Jesus so long, if you've been walking and you've had a Christian walk for a long time, it's time now to deepen it. Deepen your walk. If you haven't started your walk, start your walk. It's important. It's important in this time, in this season right now, to deepen our walks and to renew our commitment to Christ. Because sin in our life will not be tolerated by a holy and righteous God. Hey, I really appreciate you joining. Please come back next week for the second part. We're going to go through the next part. I want you to be with us when we do that. Hey, I love you, and I hope that you enjoy this journal, and I hope that it's life-changing for you.